This video is sponsored by Oculus.
Hello, are you ready for the future of gaming?
Hi.
VR, virtual reality. It's virtual, it's reality, except that it's not because it's virtual. I've been a big fan of VR as an idea since I tried it out at PAX a million years ago, but it's taken some time for technology to catch up to the dream, so to speak. I've tried older VR systems with mixed results, fun to play, but limited and in some regards really frustrating to use. But now Oculus has reached out and asked me to produce a video covering the Oculus Rift S. So today we're gonna hang out and play some VR games and I will share my thoughts. So here we go. As far as the sponsorship goes, Oculus didn't really give me much direction outside of a few talking points, and they specifically asked for my honest opinion and my personal experience, so that's what I'm gonna give. To get an idea of what was in the box, I actually did a short unboxing video over on Twitter, so here's some of that. This is not the first VR headset I've ever owned, it's actually my third. Early virtual reality devices were a bit tedious at times, so I'm excited to try out a modern headset. The box is very sleek, featuring the headset and controllers on the front. And here on the back, you can see the Oculus reaching out to grab your eyeballs and yank them into the virtual world. At least that's how I assume VR technology functions. Inside the box, you get the two controllers. These are probably smaller than you'd expect. They're definitely smaller than I expected. They fit in the hand really comfortably. The safety strap seems sturdy. I'm sold. I'm actually a bit of a safety strap fiend ever since the dawn of motion controls. I just like to wear them. I like the extra security. I feel safe. Safer than before. And then there's the headset. Very simple, very future-y, also very comfortable to wear. It's got a ring that kind of grips the back of your head and your forehead, which keeps the actual headset from resting on your nose too much. That's actually one of my other big complaints about past VR headsets. The ones that rest on your nose can really dig in and hurt after a while. So I like this forehead ring setup a bit more. Now, this is just my first impression, but I gotta say this feels like the most comfortable VR headset that I've tried on thus far. It's very secure on my head and yet not resting on my nose even a little bit. I can move around, it doesn't feel like it's gonna get loose. Yeah. Obviously, I'll have to see how it holds up with long-term play, but as of right now, it's feeling pretty good. I'm ready to go into the virtual world, man. Take me away. To my surprise, that's about all there is in the box aside from some batteries and manuals. I was really expecting at least a camera to track the headset, but I guess all of the tracking is done via these 5 sensors on the outside of the headset. I'm interested to see how well it will track the motions of my head and hands, as well as how it will do something like room scale. We'll have to see. Assuming they figured out how to do all that tracking without a camera or sensor towers, that's a pretty big deal. Today I've got 4 games for demonstration, the first of which is called I Expect You to Die.
I expect you to die. I expect you to die. I expect you to die.
Oh, that was sick.
The intro on this one really wowed me. It's wild how much of an experience a credit sequence can be in VR.
That was just a really cool intro.
I expect you to die.
Well, that was worth it just for the intro. That was super cool.
The game itself sounds awesome. This is the one that I was the most excited for. It's essentially a spy-themed escape room, and in each level you're doomed to die unless you can figure out a specific sequence of events. You do this by searching the environment for various clues and ultimately dying a few times due to trial and error. This one was a lot of fun, and it seems like a good fit for people who like the escape genre. While I like puzzle games and solving clues and even the theme of the game, I didn't quite like having to restart levels when I was too stupid to finish the level.
Where's the keys? Where's the keys? 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 There's a bunch of poison gas. Where's the keys? Where's the keys? Where's the keys? Where the...
This is totally a personal preference. It's just not my favorite game mechanic, but I did have a good time with it when I knew what I was doing, and I feel like I'd really enjoy watching my friends play through this one.
We know Zor wants revenge on the agency, but this is a tad extreme. Get into that lab, and I'll walk you through making an antivirus. Perhaps when you're done there, you can come clean my office.
Oh man, I just want a window washing VR game. I don't need the spies, I don't need the bombs, just make me a window washing game. I would stream that. I would stream that all day. Window washing, I'd get buff arms doing this all day.
As for the Oculus, everything's functioning how I'd expect. I'm pretty sure this is the highest resolution screen that I've used in VR, so that is kind of awesome. Next up, I played Accounting Plus. This is a game that's starring, co-directed, and co-written by Justin Roiland of Rick and Morty fame, a fact that the game more or less acknowledges right off the bat. If you like his brand of humor, this is your kind of game.
Oh, yes, you must be our new accountant. Finally, yeah, I hope you like your new accounting office.
Yeah, we're super excited about the accounting work you'll be doing.
Yes.
Well, it's more of an experience than a game, a brief narrative comedic journey. It's brief enough that I'm gonna shut up about it now so I don't spoil too much of it. Just know that I laughed a lot, particularly when anyone was yelling at me.
Those are my goggles! Put them back! This is my stuff! You're taking my stuff! Get out of here!
Recommended. It was a good time. I laughed more than I expected to. Before we get to the next game, I'd like to highlight the Oculus home space. This is where you show up when you first put the headset on. It functions as your VR home base. I think it's really cool to have a room that you decorate, and you even unlock new items when you spend time in VR experiences. I spent a good amount of time in here, specifically playing with the ping pong balls. Anyway, Asgard's Wrath is the game that Oculus really wanted me to show off, so even though it doesn't look like something that I would typically go for, I trusted them and gave it a shot. And let me say right off the bat, this game is huge. When it comes to VR games, I've grown accustomed to smaller experiences, so I'm shocked to see a game at nearly 130 gigabytes.
Is this forward? Oh, Jesus flopping Christ.
I actually just now checked my notes in virtual reality, and I see now why they wanted me to talk about this one. Asgard's Wrath is an action RPG that's supposed to last over 30 hours, which is ambitious to say the very least. Now, medieval fantasy games might not be my cup of tea, but even so, this game had me marveling not only at the scenery and the environments, but just the sheer scale of the game. It's definitely unlike any other VR game I've played, in that instead of focusing on one gameplay mechanic like sitting in place and trying to escape a scene, it feels like a full RPG with items, level progressions, a story, the works. This first combat scene here reminded me a lot of The Ocean Hunter, a shooting gallery arcade game that I was obsessed with when I was younger. Only instead of shooting, you're hacking and slashing. I think my favorite part was exploring the tavern. Just looking at the gameplay really doesn't do the VR justice. Even putting green screen footage of myself over the gameplay doesn't help, as shocking as that may seem, but it really feels like you're in this environment. I would play a full VR game that takes place in here were it available. The game has a lot more to offer than that though, like puzzles and exploration, recruiting animal companions, and you can even change scale as you shift from God mode to mortal mode. If you're a fan of medieval fantasy and you've been waiting for a full-fledged virtual reality RPG to dive into, the time is now. Ooh, I have saved my favorite for last, Superhot. Superhot came out back in 2016, but it is still the best VR game I have ever played. Now, you probably already know the game's core gimmick. You are an action man pulling off AAA level action combat moves very, very slowly. Time only moves as you move, so you're able to stand still or move really slowly and able to dodge bullets, grab guns, punch faces, the works. We've all seen that action scene where a super fast hero sees the world move in slow motion around them. This is the game version of that, and it absolutely never fails to make me feel ridiculously cool. Now, I've played the VR version of Superhot on other platforms, but I always had issues with the tracking of my hands. My hands would often get lost and cause me to lose levels, and throwing the ninja stars accurately was nearly impossible. But I didn't have those issues with the Rift S at all. In fact, I was really impressed with how accurately I was able to throw things. This is my favorite VR game, easily. If you haven't given it a shot, I highly recommend it. So what do I think of the Oculus Rift S? Well, I really like it. I like it a lot more than a headset that cost $800 when I got it in 2016. I especially like how there's no external sensors or cameras. That's one of my least favorite things about the other setups. The Rift S is just easy to throw on and hop into an experience without any fuss, and I found the tracking to be just as accurate as any other VR headset that I've used. In some cases, it was noticeably better.
I wasn't able to test it out in a very large environment, just my medium-sized office, but it worked great, and I imagine most people will be playing in similarly sized rooms.
I feel like the Rift S is going to satisfy my VR needs for the foreseeable future. The one thing I feel worth mentioning, watching out for though, is that the Rift S does not have manual IPD adjustment. IPD has to do with the distance between your eyes. Everybody has a different one, and instead of having a physical knob to adjust the headset screen, the adjustment is done digitally. This didn't really affect me. I never felt like I needed to adjust any settings, and on VR headsets that had manual IPD adjustments, I can't say that I've ever really messed with it. But I guess if you have particularly wide or narrowly spaced eyes, it's something to look out for before you buy. If you'd like to pick up an Oculus Rift S, they are $399, and you can get them at oculus.com or by using the link in my description. I hope you enjoyed this look at some VR games. It was really cool to get invited to cover something Oculus related. I just think VR is really neat, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back next time with something different.